Colonel Alan West is the third of 4 generations of military servicemen in his family. During his 22-year career in the United States Army, Lieutenant Colonel West served in several combat zones and received many honors, including a Bronze Star, 3 Meritorious Service Medals, 3 Army Commendation Medals, 1 with Valor Device, and a Valorous Unit Award. In 1993, he was named the U.S. Army ROTC Instructor of the Year. In November of 2010, Alan was elected to the United States Congress, representing Florida's 22nd District. As a member of the 112th Congress, he sat on the Small Business and Armed Services Committees and was instrumental in passage of the 2011 and 2012 National Defense Authorization Acts. He is a Fox News contributor, director of the Booker T. Washington Initiative at the Texas Public Policy Foundation, senior fellow at the Media Research Center, contributing columnist for townhall.com, and author of Guardian of the Republic, an American Ronin's Journey to Family, Faith, and Freedom, and Hold Texas, Hold the Nation, Victory or Death, which many of you I saw were able to grab a copy tonight. Colonel West pens daily columns on his personal website, theoldschoolpatriot.com. Lieutenant Colonel West holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Tennessee, as well as 2 master's degrees, one from Kansas State University and another from the U.S. Army Command and General Staff Officers College. Colonel West is an avid distance runner, a master scuba diver, a motorcyclist, and in his spare time he enjoys training on his beloved Tennessee Volunteers. He is a legacy life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, life member of the American Legion, life member of the Association of the United States Army, the Society of the 1st Infantry Division, Patriot Life member, and Board of Directors member of the NRA. Lieutenant Colonel West is an inductee into the University of Tennessee Army ROTC Hall of Fame. He's on the Board of Advisors of Amity Bank, Dallas Region. West was appointed by Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick to the Texas Sunset Advisory Commission. He's married to Dr. Angela Graham West, a financial advisor, and they have 2 daughters. Aubrey is a physician's assistant, and Austin is a flight attendant. Please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Colonel Alan West.
Pretty kind when he said that I'm the first speaker. It's more like being a crash test dummy or a guinea pig, but that's okay. It's a pleasure and honor to be back here at Founders. Thank you so much to the administration for allowing me to share some thoughts, perspectives, and insights with each and every one of you. Because I think that we're at a critical time here in the United States of America, and it really does start with one thing. That starts with education. You know, Proverbs 22:6, the words of Solomon, it says, "Train up a child in the way that they should go, so that when they grow old, they shall not depart from it." That's a very important responsibility that we have. You know, some of you people got the book and everything, and you saw, you know, my handwriting. I learned how to write cursive before I even hit the 1st grade, because my mother thought it was just that important. Because it wasn't just about the penmanship, it was about the discipline involved in the penmanship. It was about the precision involved with it. It was about the challenge of being able to, you remember the old tablets, to stay in those lines? That's what she taught me. And see, now today, I think that we don't even teach cursive anymore. As a matter of fact, I remember being an instructor of ROTC at Kansas State University, and I would never have the kids in my class type a paper. I'd always challenge them to write a paper. They were like, "Well, Captain West, why we got to write a paper?" I said, "Because when you're in combat, you don't have a computer. You may have to write an order and give it to someone. You may have to write a memo and make sure it's delivered to someone else. So you have to be able to expertly write down and communicate. And also you have to be able to do it with your mouth as well. Because sometimes in a firefight, people are looking for very strong communicative skills, because it's all about keeping people alive." Now, so when I think about education, I think about the fact that my parents took the opportunity to say, we're not sending our son to the failing public schools in our neighborhood. I grew up in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, the old 4th Ward neighborhood. If you've ever been, how many people have ever been to Ebenezer Baptist Church, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s final resting spot? You were right in the middle of my neighborhood. As a matter of fact, you were right across the street from my elementary school, Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic School. Because my parents knew that the opportunities that are afforded in the United States of America start with a good quality education. But where are we today when we talk about education in the United States of America? He just alluded to it. When we talk about the fact that we're failing. The once incredible education system in the United States of America is far behind many of the other industrialized nations in the world. And think about what just happened down in Austin with the independent school district down there. Maybe some of y'all know about it. Maybe some of you should read about it. But they just introduced a new sex education curriculum that I can't repeat because we got young kids here. But the curriculum is going to be teaching things that I can't repeat here to third graders up to eighth graders. And then we ask ourselves, why are we falling behind in math? Why are we falling behind in reading? Why are we falling behind in critical thinking skills? You know, when I came out of the United States Army, I went through a program called Truths to Teachers because I wanted to give back. And so I taught high school for a year at Deerfield Beach High School down in South Florida. I was International Baccalaureate program. I taught the American history and also honors government. And some of y'all said, well, Colonel, why were you just there for a year? Well, if I'm going to be in a combat zone, I might as well be armed. Okay? I got tired of breaking up fights. I got tired of seeing kids that had little hope, little despair. And so I decided to go back over to Afghanistan and be a trainer and a mentor for the Afghan army. But what I saw in that 1 year at Deerfield Beach High School really disturbed me. Because for some odd reason, we have gotten to the point of believing in the United States of America that teaching a kid how to take a test is teaching a kid. And it's not. Because what we're doing is we're just creating robots. And as just a history teacher, I would lose my students during the time period of what they call FCAT, Florida Comprehensive Assessment Test workup, because it had to be all about immersing them in math and English studies. So it was nothing about history, nothing about understanding where this country came from or the basic fundamentals and principles that established this great nation. And of course, if you did not pass that test at a certain grade level, you know, people would look at you and say, well, chances are you're not going to be that successful. And next thing you know, we had kids dropping out. We are not teaching critical thinking skills to our young people. We're not teaching our young people how to go out and be productive members of society. And that troubles me. You know, one of the things that I tried to do when I was a member of Congress down there in South Florida was say, why don't we have more practical application of the things that we're teaching in our schools to our young people? You know, an underwater welder makes about $80,000 to $90,000 entry level. And one of the things you have to learn to be an underwater welder is scuba diving. And what is scuba diving based upon? Physics and math. See, we've got to teach our young people the relevance of all of these things instead of just having them sit in the classroom. And that is why parents here and the kids here, the founders, you got something special. There are a lot of kids all over Louisville, and Dallas, and Fort Worth. They wish that they could have what you have here. There are a lot of kids on the other side of the Trinity River, South Dallas, wish they could have what you have here. So don't take it for granted. That's the first message I want to give to you. Now the second message, the real reason why we're here, this is called Liberty and Learning. We just finished celebrating Veterans Day. How many soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, Coast Guardsmen we got here? Please stand so we can give you a round of applause. Come on, stand up. Get up, get up, get up. Now the thing that binds us all together, even though we poke fun at each other and tell jokes about each other, but the thing that binds us all together is this. All of us stood up one day in front of a flag, maybe by ourselves, or maybe with others, and we raised our right hand, and we said these words: I, Alan Bernard West, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any purpose of evasion or mental reservation, and we finished it with saying, so help me God. See, these are the type of people that this country has raised so that you can sit here and get an education. This is where your liberty truly comes from. Dating all the way back to April the 19th of 1775, when those first men came out of taverns, came out of their homes, and they took on the greatest power that the world knew, the British military, in a little place called Lexington Green, all the way up to today, with men and women that will go deep into enemy territory and kill the #1 Islamic terrorist in the world. That's how you stay free. But the interesting thing is that those men and women do not take an oath to a person. They don't take an oath to a political party. They take an oath to the thing that binds us all together as the American people, our rule of law, the Constitution of the United States of America. But sadly, and y'all see many of these man-on-the-street interviews, we're not teaching our Constitution. We're not teaching our Declaration of Independence. We're not teaching the founding. As a matter of fact, most of the history books that come out into our schools today, they don't go back past the Industrial Revolution. So once again, you're very fortunate to be here at a place that has these incredible busts of two great American presidents, because some other students aren't getting that. And see, if we are not teaching our rule of law, if we're not teaching how we understand the basis and the formulation of this country, can the Supreme Court make a law? No. But some people think that they can. And as a matter of fact, it wasn't too long ago that there was a 5-4 court decision on same-sex marriage, and everyone said the Supreme Court has made the law of the land. They can't do that. As a matter of fact, there was an American, a guy that was a baker out of Colorado. They had to go before the Supreme Court because he didn't want to make a cake for same-sex marriage, and they said that he was breaking the law in Colorado. This is what happens when we don't teach civics. Can a president rescind an executive order of a previous president? Then why do you have people in the media saying that it cannot be done? Because we don't have a monarchy here. We have a republic. When you hear people say that America is a democracy, no, America is a republic. It's a constitutional republic. It's the longest running constitutional republic that the world has ever known. As a matter of fact, on the day that our Constitution was signed up there in Philadelphia, September the 17th, 1787, Benjamin Franklin came out of Independence Hall and met a woman named Mrs. Powell, a Philadelphia socialite. And Mrs. Powell asked him a very simple question. Well, doctor, what is it that we have? A monarchy or a republic? Franklin replied with those incredible immortal words that many of us have forgotten. A republic if you can keep it. And see, the thing is, if we're not teaching what it means to live in a republic, the rule of law, and the understanding of individual sovereignty and rights, then the next thing you know, we go away from that. Why did those men come out of those taverns and out of their homes on April the 19th of 1775 to stand in Lexington Green? It wasn't that they had it. It was that the British were marching toward Concord, Massachusetts. The British had orders to go and find a weapons and armaments factory, and they were to destroy it. Those men came out because they understood one basic thing, that if we are armed, we are citizens. If we are disarmed, we will be subjects. But think about it, how now some people say that the Second Amendment is not the law of the land. It was put there for a reason. And even in the state where those men took to the field in Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts, before there was an army, before there was a navy, before there was a Marine Corps, before there was a United States of America, before there was a federal government, they understood that one thing, that there's only one enabler to keep us free and enable us to be liberty-minded people. But yet when you go to that very same state today, Massachusetts, the words that say the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, you can travel anywhere all over the United States of America and it's being infringed. As a matter of fact, how many people understand what red flag laws are? This is what happens when we're not studying, we don't understand. We don't have more founders, classical academies. We don't understand what enables us to have liberty, to have freedom. You know, I'm really honored that I could be here, Ms. Karras, and speak at your school. Because there's some schools that won't allow me to do this. I've been to some of them. And I've had students shouting me down, and you know, I just wait them out, because sooner or later they're gonna get tired. I'm not gonna get tired of watching them. But they will shout you down, because they don't believe that you have a First Amendment right to free speech or freedom of expression. They believe that speech can only be accepted speech, that which they believe is acceptable to them based upon their ideological agenda. Think about what some person who was a presidential candidate, was a member of Congress, was a city council member, right here from the great state of Texas, just recently said that if churches and other 501c3 organizations do not embrace same-sex marriage, they should lose their tax-exempt status. How many folks have ever heard of separation of church and state? But how many people really understand what separation of church and state is? Because Thomas Jefferson, and this is funny, I was speaking at the University of Miami to the upper class political science students. And after I spoke, a young lady came up to the microphone and she said, well, Congressman West, you know, I'm a little bit concerned because lots of times you refer back to your faith. And I think as a member of Congress, that's a violation of separation of church and state. And I was like, oh boy, we're gonna have some fun here now. So I said, really? And I said, okay, can you tell me where that's written? She said, it's in the Constitution. So I went right into my little breast pocket and I pulled this little handy-dandy little American Express credit card out. Don't leave home without it. And I asked her to show me in the Constitution where it's written. Now, the University of Miami is a pretty prestigious institution of higher learning. It ain't like the University of Tennessee where a C is like making an A. Okay, when I was there. She said, well, I'm not sure. I said, well, where do you think it is? Well, maybe it's in the Declaration of Independence. They didn't know. Upper class students at the University of Miami did not know where separation of church and state came from. It was just a concept, an idea, in a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist Convention, because what Thomas Jefferson did not want to have happen in the United States of America was that a head of state also became the head of church. And that is what happened with King Henry VIII. Because King Henry VIII wanted to get a divorce, and the Catholic Church told him no. So what did King Henry VIII decide to do? I'll make my own church, the Church of England, and I'm going to be the head of the Church of England. And everyone that does not worship the Church of England, and basically what I say, my ideological agenda, you're going to be persecuted, you're going to be prosecuted. To the point where he killed his own closest advisor, Thomas More. How many folks here have ever seen the movie Man for All Seasons? Parents, share that movie with your kids. When you talk about virtue, you talk about knowledge, you talk about honor, when you talk about being steadfast and standing up for your principles, Thomas More is an impeccable example of that. But yet, what do we have happening here in the United States of America? People believe that their ideological agenda becomes their religion, and therefore, if you don't succumb to their religion and to their beliefs, then you should be persecuted and prosecuted. And that's why Jack Phillips was standing before the Supreme Court, because he was just a simple baker that said, I'll bake you any cake, but I don't want to participate in a ceremony that violates my First Amendment freedom of religion and the free exercise thereof. This is why we need to have liberty and learning. They go together. America has only been around for, what, 244 years? And sadly, we are starting to forget our basic fundamentals. What's the basic fundamental of the United States of America? Individual sovereignty, individual rights, individual freedom, individual liberty. When you read the entire Declaration of Independence, you will understand that the Declaration of Independence is really a list of, well, grievances that would justify why the United States of America should be independent. But the great thing is that if you go and read the Declaration of Independence today, you will see some of the exact same things that the British were doing to the colonists that are happening today. George Santayana, back in 1928, the quote attributed to him, "Those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it." Maybe there's a reason why people are tearing down statues, people are rewriting history, why people don't talk about civics and history anymore. Someone came up with this brilliant thing called social studies. Social studies is very objective, subjective, based upon the whims of whoever comes up with whatever curriculum. This is why we need parents to be involved. Parents, you got to start asking your kid, what did you learn today? What did you study today? Because when you think about it, how much time, parents, do you spend with your child or your grandchild as opposed to the teachers here or a college professor? That's why you must be engaged. Thanksgiving is coming up, and a lot of us are going to have some of our kids and grandkids coming back from colleges and universities. Do not let your child or your grandchild say, "I don't want to talk about it." If I had ever told my mom and dad, "I don't want to talk about it," or, "My professor knows more than you know," I wouldn't be speaking here tonight. Okay? And that's what you have to do. I used to tell my daughters, I'm a benevolent dictator. But the thing is that no one else should be inculcating principles, virtue, and values in your child that is contrary or the antithesis of what you're trying to teach and train up your child to be. That's the important part about being a parent. And just because your kid graduates from here, your kid goes on to college, university, graduates from there, you still have a responsibility as a teacher, a coach, and a mentor to your child. You never give up that responsibility. And so my challenge to each and every one of you is to start having conversations with your children and your grandchildren about what it means to live in the longest running constitutional republic that the world has ever known. My challenge to those of us soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen, just because we've taken our uniform off, our service and commitment to the oath that we took to the Constitution of the United States of America is not over. We must continue to teach those lessons. We must continue to share those lessons. We must continue to tell the stories of our fallen brothers and sisters and why they made the last full measure of devotion so that subsequent generations can be here in this incredible land. That's a huge challenge for us. But the greatness is that it's a huge reward also. I had a former commanding general that said life is all about how you live your dash. Didn't know what he was talking about back then, but he kind of broke it down and explained it to us. On your final resting spot, there's a start date and there's an end date. The only thing in the middle is a little bitty line. You have to ask yourself, what is that little bitty line, that dash? What will it say to all the people that walk past your final resting spot for eternity? Will it say that you honored your oath? Will it say that you stood up and you understood the rule of law and you tried to train up your child in the way that they should go so that they will not grow apart from it? See, when I go back to Marietta National Cemetery and I stand before the final resting spot of my dad, a corporal in the United States Army, and my mother, who served civilian service with the 6th Marine Corps District Headquarters in Atlanta, I know what their dash stood for, because I'm the embodiment of that. And that's what we pass on from generation to generation. That's why the United States of America is the greatest nation that the world has ever known, because we pass liberty on to subsequent generations. But we also need to pass our knowledge and transfer that knowledge and that learning to subsequent generations. So this Thanksgiving, this Christmas, holiday season, talk about the Constitution, please. Talk about what it means to live in this great nation. Talk about those Bill of Rights that you have, which some people don't think that we have. It sounds real cool, young people, that folks want to give you something for free. But always remember, free does not equal freedom. And when someone gives you something for free, they own you. When someone tells you that you are not capable of going out and doing it yourself, that you don't have the ability to go out and pursue your own happiness, that they don't believe that there is opportunity, only them dictating your outcomes, that's not liberty. That is the worst form of enslavement, because it enslaves your will, and it enslaves your desire, it enslaves your determination, it enslaves your drive. Let me close by just saying this. I was born February 7th of 1961 in a blacks-only hospital. I remember going down to visit Granddad down in South Georgia. In certain cities and certain counties we couldn't drive through. We definitely couldn't go through those places at night. I remember seeing the bathrooms that said colored and the water fountains that said colored. I remember, reading and understanding that when I was born in 1961, blacks could not go on Fort Lauderdale Beach. They could not go across the intercoastal over to Palm Beach Island. But the greatness of America, the liberty that America affords, through the opportunities you get by having a good quality education, is that 50 years later, I was sworn in as a United States congressional representative that represented Fort Lauderdale Beach and Palm Beach Island. Liberty starts right here, with freeing your mind. And the only person that can hold you back and enslave you is you. And don't let anyone tell you what you cannot achieve, because I am a living witness of what America is and the American dream. So God bless you all. What are your questions?